Thousand-Year-Old Vampire is a solo RPG by Tim Hutchings, published in 2020. The idea behind the game is that you journal events of your life as a vampire, either in long-form descriptions or in short, to-the-point summary statements. At the end of a solo session, you are left with a life path that usually spans centuries and is littered with mortals you once knew, immortals who are both friend and foe, and more memories lost than retained. Your vampire character is defined through 5 traits: memories, resources, skills, characters, and marks. Characters are further divided into mortals and immortals, but that is the extent of it. There are hardly any limitations under each of these categories except in when they are rewarded and taken away. You start as a mortal, wherein you write down 3 skills, 3 mortal characters who have some connection to you, and 3 resources. Resources throughout this game can be anything from a bone trinket to a castle. Then you name the immortal who turned you into a vampire and describe the circumstances of your transformation. You also start with 3 memories. So-called memories are these holders of experiences, which are specific events in your vampire's life that you record either as a brief statement or a longer journal passage depending on which mode you're playing in. Then comes the prompts, which are the engine of the game. You always start with the first prompt, and answering the prompt is what could be considered a round of play. Every time a prompt is answered, a new experience must be created, either under an existing memory, if it matches the thematic nature of that memory overall, or under a new memory. And here's where things get really interesting. Pretty quickly, you will run out of space for new experiences, since your vampire's brain only has the capacity for 5 memories containing 3 experiences each. So very early on, you will need to start flagging memories as being recorded in a physical diary, which can carry up to 4 more memories. But there are prompts that can separate you from your diary, in which case those memories are lost forever. Otherwise, and quite often, you will simply be crossing out experiences, simulating having forgotten them. Prompts will also be generating more and more mortals and immortals. It's worth mentioning at this point, you're mostly making all of this up yourself. Aside from the macro directional prompts, you have to come up with the names and historical details and all of the interrelational tissue between your vampire and the characters, who come and go over the course of your vampire's lifetime. Prompts will grant you resources, which you will try to narratively incorporate into future experiences and memories as much as possible, as well as skills. But these 2 pools get taken away as well. Eventually, the prompts will drain you of both resources and skills, and when that happens, your vampire has finally met their death. The heart and soul of this game is the prompts, which are designed to spur you forward for a time and then end you by exhausting all of your accumulated skills and resources. There are 80 original prompts, the first 71 of which have 3 layers to them, so that if you land on it twice, you use the second and then the third layer of a prompt. To advance after the first prompt, you roll a d10 and a d6, moving forward that many prompts if the difference is positive, backwards that many on a negative, and repeating the last prompt if the difference is 0. If you've exhausted all of a prompt's layers and it comes up again, you just move to the next prompt. There is a whole second set of prompts numbering 1 to 135 in the book in order to provide more variety. After running both sets of prompts separately, I feel that the first original set is much more direct and will allow for a shorter lifespan just due to the attrition of skills and resources, while the bonus set, which is written by a variety of writers, is much more verbose and actually gets kind of crunchy in places, and will make for a much longer life due to it eating away less at your skills and resources on average. So who's this game for? Obviously you need to be cool with the idea of vampires if you're going to enjoy this game. They feed on the blood of others, it's just their thing. Other than that, this game is very well suited for the type of person who likes to come up with backstories for their characters, or who spends way too much time building their homebrew world, or who has ever tried to write a novel. The experience for the player is all the more colorful if they have any command of history or foreign culture, as the game encourages you to start in the distant past, and the prompts get you moving or fleeing across the globe a fair amount. But it could also be a great experience for those who need any excuse to do research into the past, and even though I didn't see any mention of it in the book, it could easily take place in a place other than Earth, such as your favorite fantasy setting or an alternate universe. Or your vampire could start their unlife in present-day Earth and live on into the distant future. Interestingly, the book also includes some brief suggestions on how to play with more than one person, which of course opens up the game to all kinds of interesting collaborative storytelling moments. I ran this game several times before writing this review, and it was some of the most writing fun I've had in a long time. The way that the prompts have been crafted and tweaked makes the life of your vampire a roller coaster of ups and downs. You have to grapple with disappointment in your own vampire themselves as much as with any NPC, and it's endlessly fascinating. This game is a bit of a triumph in my opinion. Let me know what's happened to your vampire down in the comments, and thanks for tuning in. This is Dave signing off. See ya.